Well, David.
Laura.
We are 4 episodes down.
We are here at episode 5.
We sure are. And we've talked to some clinicians.
Check.
Some patients.
Check.
Patient families.
Check.
But you know what? We have yet to talk to any of our donors or supporters.
Ooh, that's another key group of people for the foundation.
They sure are. They make a lot of magic happen
They
for
sure
the hospital, right? And one of our signature programs that we have here, that we've had here at the foundation for about 12 years now, is Homers for Health. And Homers for Health was founded by St. Louis legend Matt Holliday and his wife, Leslee.
Those people are so awesome.
Yeah, that was way back in 2012, and it's raised over $9 million, I think, for the hospital.
Cow.
I know, that's a lot of cash, a lot of good things. And the Hollidays have continued to be champions for Cardinal Glennon and Homers for Health, even after Matt retired from baseball and left St. Louis in 2016.
It's just amazing that they've stayed connected this far, even after he's retired.
Yeah. So because of that, today on the Glennon Factor, we are excited to sit down with Matt and Leslee and a very special co-host that they know super well, Maggie Bohannan.
I'm so excited that we're going to have Maggie here in studio with us being a co-host. Because Maggie, so she was a Glennon kid and she was diagnosed in 2011 with ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And 2011. So that was about the time that both you and I started at the foundation.
We started
the
that
marketing
year.
team, and you were helping out with patient stories and still are doing that amazingly. So then we met Maggie around them, and then Matt and Leslee got to meet Maggie as well at that time. That was like right after the World Series. And it kind of feels like there was a little bit of the inspiration for beginning Homers for Health, because the program started just that following year. And how long has it been? She's like 23 now.
Yeah,
and
she's all grown up.
Oh my goodness. And, the Hollidays and the Bohannans have been staying in touch ever since then. Like they really just developed that relationship at the beginning.
Yeah.
And Maggie and her mom were guests on the Hollidays podcast Table 40 like a year or so ago. So there's a lot of fun connections going into this episode.
For sure. And you know, I am certain that many people could sit and talk to Matt and Leslee for hours about baseball. But as we both know, I am absolutely really not a baseball fan
You love all the
know
sports.
like nothing about sports. So this is so awkward. But honestly, the reason that I'm so curious to talk to Matt and Leslee really has nothing to do with baseball, because I've always thought that if their connection to Glennon was primarily rooted in baseball, we would have lost them several years ago.
Right. Yeah. Whenever Matt left the Cardinals.
Right. So like, kind of like when time is up in St. Louis, so would be the support, right? If the roots were all about baseball. So when they were adamant about continuing Homers for Health after Matt retired, after Matt left St. Louis, that's when they kind of became interesting to me. And I just love a good onion and something that has layers. So the reason that I wanted to have them on the Glennon Factor was because that loyalty and that passion told me that there was more behind the baseball Hollidays than what we give them credit for. And I feel like there's a whole lot more to them as people, and more than we've given adequate time to talking about. So that's why I wanted to have them on and learn more about them as people.
No, this is exciting. Well, let's get them on and let's start learning.
Let's do it. Well, hi, Matt. Hi, Leslee. Hi, Maggie.
How's it going?
Maggie, thanks for co-hosting with us.
Absolutely.
This is going to be fun.
Thanks everybody for being here. This is exciting.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. Okay. I have so many questions. So admittedly, of all the people at the foundation that you guys have interacted with through the years, I'm probably the least knowledgeable about the two of you as humans. My bad. So in case there are other people listening who are more like me, I kind of want to learn and explore the scoop on who you both were even before you met. And then kind of slowly put the puzzle pieces together of how you as a couple eventually got here and how we're blessed to stay connected to you. So I'm a destiny person, and I know God's had a role in that somewhere. So I just kind of want to back it up and start at the beginning, if that's okay.
How much time do I have?
How much time do you all have?
I mean, you have.
Maybe I should go first.
You go first. You set the speed. You set the tone.
So I want to go back to the time in life when the two of you met. So like, where were you? How old were you? What were you in the middle of as far as like school, life, career path, that kind of thing?
All right. You can go first.
So I grew up in Oklahoma, in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where Oklahoma State is. My dad coached baseball here. So I grew up here. I signed with the Rockies out of high school. So at 18 years old, I went out to the minor leagues in Tucson, Arizona, and spent the first summer of my pro baseball career in Arizona in Tucson. I came home after the first minor league season and was living with my parents and just kind of hanging out around the campus. Obviously, my friends from high school, a lot of them were at Oklahoma State. And so Leslee was here. She was a sophomore at Oklahoma State. So I was 18. I think she was 19 at the time. And we had some mutual friends that were dating. Two of my friends from high school, both Stillwater people, were dating. And Leslee was sorority sisters with the girl. And she thought that we would be good together. And so they both tried to set us up a couple different times on a blind date. It took a while for that to happen. And then eventually we went on a blind date with a double date with our two friends to a movie. We ended up going back to her sorority house and sitting on the front porch and visiting until about 3 or 4 in the morning. It was homecoming week. And so there was sorority and fraternity guys, sorority girls and fraternity guys out everywhere comping, which is putting pieces of paper and wire to make these floats. And so we sat out there until 3 or 4 in the morning and it's pretty much the rest was history. We started dating and we dated for a year. We got engaged at 19 and she was 20. And then we got married a year later. She was 21 and I was 20. And then we embarked on 24 years of marriage. And we had Jackson when I was 23 and she was 24. And then we had Ethan a couple years later, and then Grayson, and then Reed, and so that's kind of in a man's nutshell. I'm sure she was ready to intervene with some more detail. But
what movie did you guys go see on that first date?
Hope Floats. It was $1 movie.
Oh, that's a great movie with Sandra Bullock in it.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
I don't remember even watching it. We visited the whole time, and it wasn't. I'm not a huge rom-com fan, so it was.
I loved it. I loved the movie.
You didn't even watch it. You may have seen it before.
I had seen it before with some friends, but yeah. I mean, that's the story. A friend Jennifer thought Matt and I should go on a date, and we did. And he's right. We went on our first date, and that was it for me. So he's been my best buddy ever since. So we have a good thing going.
Okay, so y'all were young when you got married. I love that. So were you just like, Leslee, for you, were you just like crushing on him? Or how did you know he was the one?
You know what? I don't know. I feel like anytime you get married, there's always this element of faith that that it's real, so I hate it. I hate for young people to think that they know for sure that the person is the one, because then I don't think you ever have that feeling. However, I had faith and a lot of confidence in the kind of man Matt was. I have an amazing father. My dad's name's Steve, and he's wonderful, and I admire him so much. He was amazing dad, wonderful husband, and Matt had a lot of the qualities that my dad has. Like, he was a hard worker. He was a man full of integrity. He treated me really well. He loved my family really well. Like, I have 2 younger brothers that I think hung the moon, and Matt would go with me to their high school games when we were in college, and he would open the door and he would look me in the eye, and he was where he was when he said he was going to be there, and he honored me when I was there and when I wasn't there. And so it all added up to a pretty confident gal walking down the aisle and committing my life to him. And of course, making the commitment to God first and foremost. And we were Christians at the time too. And so that obviously was a huge factor in, what held our relationship together. And so, but I really don't ever want to ever come across saying like I was 100% sure that he was the one.
But I think, look, we knew we wanted to be together.
Yeah.
And as much as I was traveling in baseball season, and we just didn't like the idea of life not together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were super young, but we knew that if we wanted to live together and be together and also abide in what we believed, that the option was get married. And so we didn't know what we were doing, but we did know we wanted to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really what the most important thing is held us together, is that we love each other's company more than we love being apart. And so that really, I think, was kind of the faith and the hope that she's talking about. It's built around the idea that this is who I love to be around, and don't want to, leave her behind and go off and, for the season on all those things. So we just decided for us, that was what we wanted to do.
And there was a no trade clause. Like we knew at the very beginning, like not to bring in like a baseball illustration there, but there was a no, we were committed. And at a young age, like we saw that with both of our parents. And so, in fact, we were just talking about this morning, like Matt's parents have been married a very long time and they demonstrated what commitment looked like. I've come from a family that my mom and dad have been married a really long time, and they demonstrated what commitment looked like. So we knew that going in is like, this is a forever commitment. And by the grace of God, 24 years into it, like he's my best friend. I love spending time with Matt.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Matt, if it hadn't been for baseball, did you have another idea that you were thinking about, maybe what you wanted to pursue if it didn't work out in the minors and then getting into the majors?
Basketball, football.
Honestly, football was my fallback plan. I played football at a pretty high level in high school, so I don't want to overstate my ability in football, other than that I had opportunities to go play college football. And I knew it would involve sports. I had a passion for sports. I have a love for baseball that originated. Obviously, God places those things in our hearts, but I grew up at a baseball field, and my dad is a baseball coach. My brother's in baseball. My uncle's in baseball. And so my passion for baseball and passion for sports and competition, I knew would lead me to some sort of occupation that involved either football or baseball. And so I'm one of those people, like, I really didn't want to have a plan B. Like, for me, like, I was all in on baseball, and the idea that it was, like Leslee said, not a no trade clause, but look, I'm all in. Like, there's no option but to make it, and that's how I'm going to live and work. And if by God's grace I wasn't a baseball player, then I think sports would have, in some capacity, would have been what I ended up doing.
So you mentioned you guys got married young and everything. What were kind of those early years like? So I know you're getting used to the baseball schedule and everything and traveling a lot. Was that, you had faith that Matt had similar qualities to your father, with that strong father figure. But kind of talk to us about how your faith and how your feelings and how you knew that things were right helped you, through some of those early years.
Yeah, we were really fortunate looking back on it. Is the wonderful thing about getting married, and literally, y'all, we got married December 30th, 2000, and got in a car the next day and drove to a winter development camp.
Oh, wow. That's a quick turnaround.
We had like a couple days at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs, which is amazing and probably my all-time favorite place. But then we literally went to a winter development camp with the Rockies, because that's the team he played for at the time. And they moved us into a basement with the Wells.
Host
family. Like, we had a host family, Kurt and Tammy Wells, and we lived in their basement. And that was married life. And then Matt, went to the field and did his thing. And I read books all day long and thought it was the best thing ever. I read every Max Lucado book the guy's ever written, because I was really at that particular time really wanting to grow in my faith and my understanding of Scripture. And so he would go to work. I would sit in that little basement and read books all day. And so that's sort of what it looked like early in our marriage. And then we went to spring training. And I think that's when I really understood the lifestyle that I was going to be a part of. At the time, you're just hopeful for a couple years, right? And so, because you just never know how long a career is going to last. And I just remember looking around thinking like, I like this, because it takes a village kind of lifestyle. Like everyone's sort of in this together, and you're in this little bubble and you're all just trying to figure it out together. And so we were very fortunate to have a lot of mentors and friends along the way that invested in us as a couple, and just kind of, wouldn't you say, just kind of figured it out as a team. And so that's one of my favorite things about our journey in pro sports, is that it really does take a village to navigate a marriage, to raise a family, to, even do the things that we've done with Cardinal Glennon. I mean, I know we're going to get there, but as you look at the program retrospectively, it's pretty incredible that we left in 2016 and how many people stepped in because they cared so much about the mission of the hospital. And that's what's beautiful about pro sports, is it's a village kind of community. And I loved it so much. And so, yeah, of course you have highs and lows in every marriage. You have highs and lows in every experience in life, but it was just really nice to know that you didn't have to do it alone. And we had some incredible friends along the way that have been a big part of our story.
That's awesome. It does seem like, pro sports team is a tight-knit community and almost like a family, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So you guys were talking about the host family, and when you first started, what was that call-up day like? How did that all go down?
So in 2004, I started the season out in AAA. So we were I was in AAA. I was on the road in Memphis, I think, ironically, playing against the Cardinals AAA, and the phone rang. And back then, the hotel phone rang, not my cell phone, which I had one, but everyone just used the hotel phone. And it was our manager, and he said, basically, like, you're going up to the major leagues. And then, he kind of put me on the phone with the guy that was going to help me get the logistics to getting to Colorado, which, was going to be a flight early the next morning. So obviously I was super excited. I had put in over 5 years in the minor leagues through a lot of injuries and overcome a lot. And my dream since a little boy was to play in the major leagues. So I get this call that I'm going to the major leagues, obviously incredibly excited. So I take my cell phone and I call Leslee, of course, to share the news with her first. And it doesn't answer. And so I called probably 3 or 4 or 5 times.
I hit the line.
Oh no.
So I got tired of it. And so I called my parents and my brother and told them. And then finally she called me back and she was like, "What do you want? I'm watching The Bachelor." And I was like, "Oh, no big deal. Just getting
awesome.
To the major leagues." So
there wasn't TiVo and stuff back then. Like, you couldn't do, any sort of, you had to watch it in real time.
I just don't understand.
Was it like a special episode or something?
No, it was probably the finale. I'm sure of it.
That's an important one.
I would go with that.
Even today, like if I call you more than 3 times, like I'm not just calling to like shoot the crap. Like I'm just like, I need to tell you something, and I never like talking on the phone more than 2 minutes. So it's like,
yeah.
Even to this day, we still have this issue where she declines my call a couple times. I'm like, look, I just need 1 minute. I'm not calling to, talk about the weather.
Still a thing.
Yeah. So
Leslee, I got you. I do that all the time. So,
but I picked him up at the airport, and we went to the field, and it was awesome in Denver. So it was I will never forget it.
It's awesome.
Okay. So you start your journey, career takes off. You guys start having kids. You're this like growing family in professional baseball in the big leagues. And I honestly have no idea what that would be like as a couple. I have a very boring life, so I can't even imagine what it's like to raise a family and all of that, like in the spotlight and traveling and all of that. Did you guys have, you mentioned having a tight knit network and you do it as a village, but did you have like individual strategies or strategies as a couple for dealing with pressure? You know, like we know this is going to happen and we know these people are going to be coming at us. Like, did you kind of have individual strategies or like a tag team approach as a couple for dealing with those types of pressures and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think our process and our strategies grow. Like as you can't really prepare for something that you've never done before, and so going into that, you really don't know how it's going to be or what are the distractions or pressures or I guess temptations or worldly expectations and how to deal with all those things. I think it's one of those things you can be told about, but until you experience it, it's sometimes difficult to come up with the strategies. But I think as we learned and started to go through it, we learned that we had to keep our circle super small. We had to keep our with social media starting to sort of take off a little bit and people's opinions and radio shows and print and newspapers and we just really try to keep the family dynamic very simple and sort of going to the field and working and playing and doing the best I can, and then sort of getting in the car and in the family and going back to the house and eating and hanging out, putting the kids to bed, and wake up the next day and play and hang out with the kids, and then sort of in this routine where you don't even hear the outside noise. And I think that was something that we practiced a lot and we found to be the most effective way for our family. I didn't do a lot of appearances. I didn't do a lot of commercials. I didn't do a lot of things that took me away from my family when I was away from the field. And I think that was something that we prioritized in our marriage and being a good mom and dad to our kids was, those were important to us. And so we came up with strategies and techniques and I guess just overall, our plans were like, this was first and foremost, and then being good parents to our kids. And then we'll figure out the rest as we go. And so that was, I think, our most important strategy for us was prioritizing our family and staying together more than anything else.
Yep.
Did you find just in dealing with other families, like that other couples and families had that same strategy? Like you travel together, you do everything together, or did you run into some couples and families that it's like, no, you go travel, you do the thing, I'm going to maintain the home here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you see more of one than the other with other baseball families?
I think that's a really good question, because there's lots of ways to go about it. Again, like I would say we talk about this a lot because we've had the opportunity to mentor young people in the game. And so our plan was very descriptive, not prescriptive, for how it works for pro sports. And so we were also blessed with, it's just pretty obvious, like we stayed in places for long periods of time. And so we were able to do some things maybe a little bit different than some guys that are on just year-to-year contracts, because there's wisdom in a mother doing all she needs to do to keep stability in her home. And sometimes that does look like staying at home while the husband goes and works. But for us, the reality is we were with the Cardinals for 8 years. And so during those 8 years, we decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep our family together. And so we chose schools that would honor the commitment that we made to keep our family together. The kids understood, like, look, dad's on a road trip for 10 days. We're going on one leg of that. We're going on that trip. Like, there's baseball tournaments you're going to miss if we need to be together as a family. Like our life was, this is the contract that he has, and this is the way we're going to navigate the contract. But there are situations in pro sports that it is very, very difficult to keep everybody together. But we like to encourage those marriages to do their very best to prioritize some time together, because I think it gets very hard. It just gets like distance doesn't always make the heart grow fonder. And so I think every individual couple they need to come together as a husband and wife and shake out a plan for their family, because you just don't want to be in a position to where you're responding to chaos. Like, you want to have a predetermined plan as you go into what your calendar year is going to look like. And I think that that's something that we did pretty well, because we just never, what I never wanted was for Matt's career to be over and for me to introduce my kids to their dad. Like, I didn't want that for my kids, because Matt's a really wonderful father and the kids think he hung the moon. And so it's like, okay, what can I do as their mom to keep this unit together? And anyway, so we just kind of worked backwards. So we just kind of thought, at the end of the career, how can we stay a unit? Well, we're going to have to spend some time together. So it's going to get creative and wild, but let's try it, So that's what we did. But it's a hard question, because there's lots of different, scenarios in pro baseball.
That's awesome. Well, and so you kind of leaded up my next question. I wanted to talk about what that transition was like when you guys when you signed the deal with the Cardinals and then you shifted everybody over to St. Louis. Kind of talk us through, that process, what that looked like for you all, for your family, and then what St. Louis looked like for you all then.
Yeah, it was in 2009. We had just had Grayson. And of course we had Jackson and Ethan, and I'll never forget it. Matt was playing for Oakland. Or I guess I was pregnant with Grayson when Matt was traded to St. Louis, and he was playing for Oakland. We went to New York City because they were playing the Yankees, and I mean, the kids love New York. I love New York. So we flew over from California to watch Matt play in New York, and he got the phone call that he had been traded, and we were so excited. I mean, it's just, we love St. Louis. Matt debuted, like, his very first game in the major leagues was in St. Louis. It's closer to Oklahoma. And so it's just a familiar team and a really incredible organization. Everybody in baseball knows that. And so just the opportunity for Matt to play for the St. Louis Cardinals was, I mean, it was just exciting even for me, as a fan of baseball in general. So it was pretty cool. We grabbed the kids, we jumped on a train, and we rode the train from New York City to Philly, and Matt played that night. And I flew home a couple days later to Oakland, packed a car and shipped it to St. Louis. And we moved into a little apartment and just watched the rest of the season. But man, we loved St. Louis from the moment the wheels hit the ground. I mean, it was just such a really, really fun time, to be a Cardinal fan and also to be a Cardinal player. There were some good seasons in there while we were there. It was a lot of fun. So I'm sure your perspective is different, but we were fired up. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, getting a chance to be traded to the Cardinals when they were right on the edge of the playoffs, and I was coming from a team in last place with Oakland. And so heading into free agency, getting traded to St. Louis, meeting Adam and Yachty and Albert and guys that Chris Carpenter, guys that I ended up getting to play with for quite a while. It was immediately one of those things where I was like, man, this is somewhere I want to be in free agency. And this is the kind of environment. These are the kind of guys I want to be around. So yeah, we made a good run to the end, and then ended up obviously signing back in free agency and got a chance to spend a lot of my career there. So it surely was a blessing to get a chance to play for part of 8 years in St. Louis, and the organization did a great job of bringing guys along that were of high character and getting a chance to play with some of my best friends. Turned out, here we are, years later that we stay in contact, and Skip and Nick Punto and Adam and Yachty and Albert and, just guys that Chris Carpenter, I still see and talk to a lot. So made a lot of our lifelong friends there, and obviously we had a lot of success on the field, but I think that our 8 years there was a really good time.
What were some of the things that became favorites in St. Louis while you were here, besides Maggie?
I loved where we lived, and we had a really big backyard, and we were kind of a gathering place for the wives on the team and the kids on the team. And so those are sweet memories for me, is just having my little kids running around with other families, little kids running around and swimming in the pool and making chicken fingers and mac and cheese. And so I would say that those years were just very sweet. And like I said earlier, I mean, truly, like, it does take a village to raise a family. And so just sweet memories of being with the Cardinal teams at that time, and having the guys over and the girls over and having Bible studies at the house, and just having an opportunity to gather was really, really beautiful. And so I would say those are my favorite memories. All of my favorite memories, though, in my whole life involve relationships. And so it's not really the stuff that gets me excited. It's more just the people. And that was just a really, really memorable time in my life, to where you can just, you're with people, you're traveling with them, you're hanging out with them, you're watching the Cardinal games when the guys are on the road. And it was just a really sweet time. And Jackson and Ethan played for some travel baseball teams that were a lot of fun. And so those are great memories too, is traveling with those families and watching the boys, play over the years in Chesterfield was a lot of fun as well. So yeah, those are good days.
Well, I kind of joked about Maggie being a favorite of St. Louis and one of your favorite relationships. And I do want to delve into the story of how you guys first got introduced. But before doing that, I should probably have Maggie talk a little bit. And Maggie, I guess, tell us who you were back in 2011 when these guys were just getting to St. Louis. How did you land at Cardinal Glennon?
Yeah, so back in 2011, I was in 6th grade. I was getting ready for basketball season, getting ready to get in shape and get ready to play ball, and had a couple follow-up appointments, and I ended up losing about 12 pounds in 1 month, and was not feeling the best. Had a couple doctor's appointments, and ended up here at Cardinal Glennon, and that's kind of where the story started.
And the 12-pound weight loss and the other things that you were going through, what was your eventual diagnosis?
Yeah, so at in December of 2011, I was diagnosed with ALL T-cell leukemia, and went through treatment for about 3.5 years here at Cardinal Glennon in the CASA Center, and been off treatment since 2014. And doing well and healthy, and thank God every day for health, and yeah, very thankful.
Was basketball the only thing that you had going on, or?
I've always been a softball player. Loved playing ball. But yeah, so at the time it was winter, and was playing basketball. But yeah, I've always been a softball player. Love the game, and yeah.
So there's a story of you guys meeting Maggie. So I want you guys to reflect on that. How did that end up going down? Like, so she's in the hospital. You guys are in St. Louis. How did you guys end up connecting with Maggie?
Well, we were in St. It was in 2011. So Matt signed with the Cardinals in 2009. And during that time, we had gone around and sort of researched. We didn't want to build this is probably more information than you want, but we didn't want to build a foundation that was the Matt and Leslee Holliday Family Foundation. We wanted to partner with an existing foundation, an existing charity, if you will, because we knew that there would be a day that Matt no longer played for the Cardinals, and we just didn't want to make it about our family. We wanted to go all in and create something that would be long lasting. And oftentimes you see when a player attaches his name to something, when the players finish playing, that it kind of dies down, and we didn't want that. We wanted to be able to see something long past our days, right? So we wanted to flourish, and we believed in flourishing. It meant partnering with something that was already great. So we did a lot of research, and we met with a lot of different and wonderful organizations in St. Louis, and but we came to Cardinal Glennon. And it was different because our faith is obviously incredibly important to us. And when you walk into Cardinal Glennon, there's a piece that just feel. And I love that the nurses are able to pray with the patients. I love that there's prayer. I love that there's just this presence there that, like, yes, we are going to provide medical care, but we're also going to sit with you and be available spiritually for needs that will exist. And so that was very important to me when I saw that. And anyway, I think we had just been in Cardinal Glennon, and we were kind of making our decision, like, this is really who we want to partner with. And Dan Buck was in leadership at the time, and he met Maggie, and he called me and he said, I have this girl I want you to meet. She's a huge Matt Holliday fan, and she's a softball player. She's an elite softball player, and I want you to meet her. And she's, could you come by today? And I was like, it was close to Christmas, I believe, or it was close to your birthday. I think it was close to Christmas. It was Christmas. And I remember thinking, okay, she's a younger girl. I probably should bring in like a Christmas gift of some sort. I was nervous, Maggie. I was nervous to meet you. I didn't know, what to expect. And so I was in the parking lot at Barnes and Noble, and I just went in there and got you a Kindle. I remember I was like, I think she'll like a Kindle or something like that. I like to read. Maybe she'll like to read. And I remember that vividly. And then I remember like being nervous driving to the hospital, because you just never know what to expect. And I was excited for the opportunity to meet Maggie and her family. And it was incredible. Like, I remember walking in the room and meeting Maggie and meeting her mother. And that's when I knew. I was like, I want to dedicate time and to help build an amazing program in St. Louis at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, because this girl she represents every single patient that walks into this hospital. And just like Maggie's innocence and her mom's love for the Lord and her love for her daughter was really an overwhelming experience. And I just felt like as a mom, you sit there and think like, how could I not want to be involved in making this tragedy that they're experiencing as a family? If I could at all help make it a little bit more comfortable, I feel like there's a responsibility. You just felt this this responsibility to like wrap your arms around Maggie and Karen and be like, let me see if there's anything we can do to help bring awareness to this amazing place. It was just like, it's even to this day, it's still hard to articulate exactly the emotions that you experienced, because you just saw yourself there, with one of our kids. And it was just, what would you say? I feel like I'm rambling, but it's really hard to articulate what you felt. Like, I still remember what I was wearing. I remember this blanket that she had that I was kind of impressed with, that had like all kinds of stuff. Like it was one that you make, on your own, you tie the things.
Yeah, one of the ties.
I'm talking about. And yeah. I remember everything about it, but I do remember leaving there thinking, this is it. This is what I want. I want to be a part of this forever. And so it was a pretty unique experience, to say the least. What would you say?
Well, I think the thing for me is look, it's hard to see sick kids. And so I'm always hesitant to go, just because, I don't know, I think as humans, like it's just hard. Somebody has cancer or somebody that young. But I remember the joy, in spite of, that Karen and Maggie had, that just really kind of blew me away. Like, Karen, I remember, was ministering to all the other parents and encouraging and going to their rooms and praying with, and her joy in the midst of something that is like kind of a parent's worst nightmare. Both of them, and even the rest of the family, the way in which they handled tragedy was so amazing and so encouraging that it was like we became close with them immediately, just because of the kind of people that you want to be around, that you want on your side, that if anything ever happens to you, you want those people near you. And so like Leslee said, we knew we wanted to be involved immediately, but I just remember that really the unshakable joy that the family had in such a difficult circumstance.
Yeah, and to go off that, I mean, my family is the biggest support system through all of this, and I think just the way we went about it really was really great for me and to keep me optimistic and just striving towards getting done and getting back to playing ball and having fun. That was a big piece of it, and I'm forever grateful for their support.
Yeah. No, your parents are awesome for sure. We've gotten to know you over the years, which has been great. So there's been a lot of amazing. I mean, again, we keep coming back to this whole destiny thing, but there's been a lot of amazing timing aspects to things, and I'm getting to the Homers for Health component. But the Cardinals just finished up an amazing season in 2011. We get the World Series. We don't have to talk about that rascal, the rally squirrel, although we love him at the hospital. But there was that perfect timing there. I mean, can you talk to us a little bit about? I mean, I know Cardinal Glennon made an impact on you from like a healing and spiritual perspective, but is there anything else on top of that helped kind of solidify to get us to where this program is today that's been, helping the kids for, 12 years now?
Yeah. I mean, I just think that good programs have great structure, and there was just an opportunity to build something that would last. And I think that and you just get a lot of people together that have really good ideas, and Sandy and Todd have been incredible, and just and also just like Matt, here's the other thing too, it's really, Cardinal fans are incredible, and so you you have good structure, you've got good leadership, you've got a great idea, and then you bring in the Cardinal fans, and voila, we've got a program that's going to last for a really, really long time. And so it's just that's what's so great about St. Louis and Matt playing for the Cardinals, and and having this program be kind of a partnership with Cardinal Nation. I mean, I think that that's really the key to the success all the years, is that you invite that crew in, it's going to be a party. And so I feel like that's really what kept everything going for as long as it did. It's just the Cardinal fans adopting this as one of their programs too. And I love that. I think it worked out really, really well.
It certainly has. I mean, it's still going strong.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I adore your passion, both of you, for helping people. And I don't think it's just with Homers. I think it's in so many areas of your life. And Leslee, I heard that you hosted a Bible study for players' wives kind of throughout Matt's career. Talk to me about that, and why, I guess more so not just about the study itself, but why that was important to you. What did that mean for you to do that?
Yeah, I became pretty serious about my faith when I was in college at Oklahoma State, and rededicated my life to Jesus, when I was the freshman in college. And so about that moment on, I became very, very hungry for the Word of God, and curious about how the Word of God can impact our lives. And then Matt, we get married, and he starts his career. And when we were with the Colorado Rockies, there was a need for a Bible study teacher or leader or facilitator or whatever you wanted to call it. And they asked me to be involved, and I said yes. And I didn't really at the time understand what I was saying yes to, because I was very young. And but I had a mentor at the time that was, she just, I think something that's important in leadership is when you see something in somebody, you should say it. And that's what she did to me as a young woman, is she was like, I see this in you. I'm going to help shape this in you. And that's what she did. And I led quite a few studies when Matt played for the Colorado Rockies. And then when we went to St. Louis, whenever our chapel leader was absent, I stepped in and led those studies. And I love the Word of God. And I believe that Jesus has changed our life and placed us on a trajectory that, part of our story, that would be impossible without our understanding of the gospel, and our love for Jesus has impacted everything that we do. It's impacted our marriage. It's impacted how we parent. It's impacted our involvement in with Cardinal Glennon. Like, it impacts how we give our money away. It impacts every decision that we make. It's a holistic relationship that I have with Jesus. And so anyway, I wanted to share that with others. And so when there was an opportunity for me to lead or encourage, I always said yes to that. And that's what we do now here in Stillwater. Matt's been retired for a couple of years now, and I host a Bible study here and with college girls on Wednesday night. And on Sundays, we do a co-ed thing together for college kids and for college men and women. And it's a passion of mine. And I doubt I'll ever stop encouraging people in their faith.
I feel like the type of ministry you did, like during baseball, was probably a little bit different than the type of ministry that you do now, at least different types of people and things like that. But do you see an even greater need for it now? Like, do you see that people need what you're doing maybe now more than ever?
No, I think like since the fall in Genesis 3, there's humanity has a sin problem, and we're broken, and the only solution is Jesus. And so I don't think things have really changed. And the women that were at the tables in St. Louis or Colorado or New York or Oakland, like, their hearts are just as impacted by sin as the girls that come over on Wednesday nights, or even my kids. And so all of us have this desire to experience the love of the Lord. And so it really hasn't changed a whole lot, to be honest with you. Like, the conversations that I have with pro athlete wives and are very, very similar to the conversations that I have with girls they're in college right now. And so I think all of us are, there's a quote by a theologian that I love, and it's an older theologian, and he says, "Our hearts are restless until they find rest in the Lord." And I would say that that's what I've found over the course of my life teaching Bible studies, is that we're just very restless until we find rest in the Lord. And so, and I think, in our experience in pro baseball, the things that might cause our hearts to be restless might be a little bit different, but there's a restlessness that exists in all of us until we find rest in Jesus. And so I guess that's why I like to teach Bible study or encourage people to kind of lift their gaze a little bit, because life can feel very chaotic and overwhelming. And I know for me in my life, the only place that I can be to where I experience peace that passes understanding, no matter what circumstances that are going on in my life, is sitting with my Bible open and just quieting myself enough to experience the presence of God. And so, that's kind of what I've seen over the last couple of years, sitting around tables with women.
Love that.
Yeah, that's interesting, because there's so many things that people can wrestle with, but at the end of the day, it's still wrestling and then trying to find that peace or finding that quiet, in the Lord. And then, Maggie, I want to get to something that you do now in a different technical type of ministry, but you've been volunteering for Camp Rainbow for a while now. Can you tell us a little bit about, what Camp Rainbow is and your experience being a camp counselor there, based off of, all of your experiences that you've had in your life?
Yeah, so Camp Rainbow's here in St. Louis. It's a camp for kids with cancer and blood-related diseases. Actually, was a camper there when I was going through treatment. Ended up meeting some people there that were volunteers who had actually been survivors themselves and past campers. And it was really cool to see, as a sixth grader, to see the counselors who were helping me out had actually had the same cancer that I had. And I could see them, graduating high school and doing well. And it was really cool to see that that a person coming back and helping, and knowing that I would be there one day too. And I just try to give back where I can, and every year I get more and more fulfilled by going and helping out and seeing the kids come back healthy every year. So that's a really great experience.
So being able to use your experience and everything that you've gone through to kind of help out, a younger generation and deal with an experience that you can at least relate to.
Right.
That's pretty impactful. I think that's so amazing that you've turned your situation to become a role model. Then Matt and Leslee, the two of you are also extremely strong role models, not only in the public sense, but for your kids as well. And I kind of want to get your take on how you're preparing your kids, because probably a lot of people know that two of your sons are kind of following Matt in your footsteps and being looked at for baseball teams and, doing well in that. So I want to talk to you guys about how you're taking everything in your life experiences and how great you've made with your family dynamic and how you're preparing your kids for, potentially similar situation.
Well, I think that, the older two boys remember my career and have a passion for baseball. A lot of it, has to do with being around it as kids and a lot of it for most of their life. But I think the most important thing for Leslee and I with our kids is them understanding what true life is and what having a faith in Jesus and the priorities that you have and the things that are actually really important eternally are first and foremost the most important things in their lives. Now, obviously, they both are very talented. The older two boys are very talented in baseball and seemingly have a platform to use baseball to share their testimony and to have an impact for the kingdom through baseball. But I think for us, I think that our priority with our kids, like I said, is to see Leslee and I's love for Jesus, are to serve others, to have people in our home and to offer them living water and to offer them what it really looks like to have real life. I think is first and foremost. Now, we want to encourage them in their passions and encourage them to be the best they can be at whatever they choose to do, and as far as what they have a passion for. And Jackson and Ethan's situation just so happens that it's baseball, and which makes it fun for me because I also share that passion and I'm able to help them and know a little bit about the mechanics of baseball. And their mom was an encourager of a baseball player for a long time, so she has a lot of experience in how to encourage them in a very difficult game with a lot of failure and a lot of heartache and difficulty. And so, we try to be as best we can a place for them to come to us when they need us and to offer them wisdom that we've gained over the years that we've been a part of baseball. But like I said, I think more importantly, we want to push our kids to pursue their passions in a biblical way.
So you guys have 4, right? 4 kids. Tell us about each of them, their names and what they're doing right now, and something that you're excited about with each of them.
Sure. Yeah. Jackson is 20. He just turned 20. He just got married to a wonderful woman named Chloe. So we actually have 5 kids. And so they got married January 6th, and he's playing baseball in the Baltimore Oriole organization. So we got to watch him today on TV. So that was exciting.
That's awesome.
And he is doing well, and he loves his teammates. I think the thing that I'm most impressed with Jackson and Chloe is that, they're servant leaders, and I love watching them lead. I love that Jackson notices things about his teammates, and he's a real encourager, and Chloe is too. And she's elegant. She's an elegant encourager, and I'm a huge fan of their marriage, and I'm excited to cheer them on as their story unfolds. And then Ethan is 17. He just turned 17 a couple days ago. He's a junior in high school. He's a baseball player as well. He has opening night tonight. And so we're very excited to go watch him play. He plays shortstop, and he is precious. He's the glue guy in the family. He's the funny guy that holds it all together. He can play dolls with his sister when she was little, and then he can wrestle and beat up a kid if he needs to. So he's just like, he can do it all in our house, and he's the glue that holds everything together. So, and he's the second born, and he's an incredible leader. And I really respect the way he leads and loves so well. And Grayson, our daughter, is 14, and her name's Grayson Ivy. And I named her middle name was Ivy because I knew she was going to have to bloom where she's planted. I knew her brothers. And so I knew when she came, she was going to have some deep roots, be very confident in who she is, and bloom where she's planted. And so she's really cool. Like, she might be the coolest girl I know. She reminds me of you, Maggie. She's got a great sense of humor. She's tough. And she can walk into any room and just, feel good about things. And I love that about her, especially for a 14-year-old girl. And she loves the Lord. She's a sweet relationship with Jesus that I think is really cool and mature for her age. I'm excited to see what she does in the future. It'll be wild. It's going to be a wild ride watching Grayson Holliday shake things out. But Reed's a little guy. He's 10. I think his name's RJ Holliday on Fortnite, and he'll kill you. And so he's wild, and he keeps us on our toes. He's got an incredible sense of humor, and he is into basketball right now, which is great. We love that. He has baseball starting up, so he's going to be fun to watch. But he's a little menace in the house. Like, we laugh at him all the time. And so, we have a fun crew, and Reed is an observer of things as well. And so I think his humor is, you just never know what's going to come out of his mouth. So he's a good time. He's a lot of fun. He keeps Matt and I young.
Sounds like a busy time in the house.
It is. It's busy and great. We're enjoying it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so you're officially retired from professional sports, but the house is still busy. So tell us about the free time. What are you doing in your free time? Like, what does that look like?
For me, I spend a lot of time working with the boys baseball. I spent some time with Ethan at his high school team. I've had some hitters from around the country reach out about working with them. So this off season, had a lot of guys come through Stillwater and hit with Jackson and me and Ethan, and so that's been fun. And then I play a lot of pickleball and basketball. I like to stay active and play sports and compete, and so I spend a lot of time doing that, and then have pretty similar routine daily. And then we do some traveling around for some ministry stuff through our pro athlete outreach ministry that we're part of, and hopefully spend some time watching Jackson play this summer and traveling around with Ethan doing his baseball stuff. So we're busy with the kids stuff, and in my free time, I like to play pickleball, like I said, and pick up basketball at lunch, and like to stay active and do things that I like to do.
So you mentioned pickleball. I am a huge pickleball fan. I play like probably 2 or 3 nights a week with an old softball friend, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, we entered in a tournament a couple months ago. And we're like, we can enter in the 4.0. Like, we're athletic. We can play. That was humbling.
I have a stupid question. I'm so sorry. I've never played pickleball, but I've heard other people talk about it. Can you kind of give us is it kind of like, it looks like a mix between like tennis and ping pong, but like how does it work? Because I know it's got like the bigger paddles and all of that.
And you said you entered in the 4.0. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, so essentially it's kind of like tennis. The court's smaller. There's a few more different rules. There's what they call a kitchen line, which is like probably like 4 feet on each side of the net that you can't go into unless the ball bounces in it. there's some different rules, but a lot of the tennis players are transitioning to pickleball pretty easily. There's a lot of the similar strokes, and so it is. I would say it is kind of a ping pong tennis mix a little bit. The 4.0, it's just essentially how you kind of put yourself on a scale of if the pros are 6.2 or 6.5 to 5.5, that would be a pro player, and then you have kind of the best amateurs or 5.0 players, and then it kind of trickles down from there. So kind of beginners would be like a 3.0 would be kind of just somebody that's a novice beginning to play and is decent. And then 3.5 would be somebody that plays quite a bit. And then 4.0 is a pretty good player. And then a 4.5 is a really good player. And then a 5.0 is a really, really good player. And then
Okay,
from there,
girl.
Quickly learned that it's like 3.0,
yeah, 4.0 is
3.5.
pretty ambitious. I mean, there's some, a lot of times you enter tournaments and people sandbag down. So you end up playing people that are better than 4.0. So if you want to win and compete in a tournament, you probably need to play about
a sandbagger too.
Yeah, you have to play about a half.
I know.
A half
I learned
point,
that quickly.
a half a point to a point underneath what you really are. So it's just a way for people to know, try to play equal competition. It's like anything else. It's just a scale.
Put me down for the 0.8. I'll start there and see, maybe.
It's funny.
Okay, we're going to get ready and change gears a little bit and do something a little fun. But before that, I guess I just wanted to point something out that was just kind of like, I don't know, it just made me take a step back a little bit. When you guys got involved with Homers for Health, you were I would think like at the top of your game, right? It's a big point in your career. And like you said before, Leslee, you were looking to do something, right? To be more of a, I don't know, establish your longevity and your impact, long into the future. And I'm sure there were any number of asks or many different competing things that you could have lent your time and resources to. And there was something that clicked at Glennon. You clicked with Maggie. And I think I'm admittedly not a big sports person, but I think I did hear an interview at some point with you, Matt, where you said that you thought that your involvement in this program, sorry, I get emotional. It makes me go, wow. You had made a statement that you thought that involvement in this program was one of the biggest accomplishments of your career. I mean, do you seriously feel that way? Or, that just kind of made me go, oh my God,
Yeah. I mean, look, if you have a chance to, even reading about other athletes when they've accomplished so much in sports, it's fleeting. It's fleeting. I think when you do something that has eternal value, and when you're involved with something that impacts people in a way that has eternal value, those are the things that mean the most. And whether that's relationships with your teammates and sharing the good news with your teammates, or watching them come to the faith. Those are things that have eternal value. Was it fun to win a World Series? Absolutely. Like a lot of fun, playing well, getting a chance to play in some all-star games, some of the cool things. I don't want to, sort of diminish too much, but really the thing that, the impact and the program and all the guys that stepped up to the plate and helped out, from David Freese to Adam, we included the pitchers, and Alan Craig and a lot of the guys that really, Matt Carpenter, that stepped in and really helped promote and push and keep this going. And even going back to, the radio guys and Dan McLaughlin and every chance he got. And, just every chance that Mike Shannon had a chance to get on the air and he would push the program, really felt like it had impact. And to see all the money that the Cardinal fans have put into this, and people that have gotten involved, and the wing and all the cool stuff that's happened to make, I guess, really, really difficult times, like I said earlier, like a parent's worst nightmare. If you can just make that a little bit better for these people, and even the care for patients, and allowing Cardinal Glennon to keep doing what they're doing, those things have eternal value. And I guess, when you see that kind of thing, and you see opportunity that the game allows, with your platform to be able to use that and to leverage it for the kingdom and leverage it for others. That is, that ultimately to me was most fulfilling thing and part of my career is that I can look back and think, say that there's a legacy left behind that's bigger than my batting average or how many home runs I hit. And so I think that's an easy yes, absolutely. Probably the thing I'm most proud of in my career.
Amen. Well, I think that's awesome. And I mean, Maggie, you were at the beginning of what has made so much impact for the hospital. How does that make you feel? I mean, that's pretty cool.
I think it's just super cool. Like going off what Matt said, just to be able to play a little role and see the great impacts of the hospital. I mean, the 4th floor, that's just incredible that the support and donations are able to make that possible is truly cool. I mean, whenever I go back to the hospital and for my yearly checkups, I always see something new, and it's cool, and it wouldn't be possible without the donations.
It's kind of cool that you got to see, because you got to experience the 4th floor when you were in treatment prior to the renovation of the inpatient oncology center, but now being able to see one of the transformations. I don't know. What do you feel like, if you go back and see how new it is and how much brighter and how different it was from whenever you were a patient there?
Yeah, I think it just overall helps the overall care for the families and the patients. I mean, I remember my family would go up to the Ronald McDonald House just to take a shower or do, just I think even just to lay down for a little bit on a couch. And now they have that in the rooms in the 4th floor, and it's incredible.
Love that.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Well, okay. We said we were going to shift gears for something a little different and fun. So here it is. We have a tradition at the foundation to get to know the less formal side of people doing a fun thing that we lovingly call the hot seat. So what the hot seat is that it's a series of rapid fire questions that we are going to send to you all for just hopefully some quick answers. They may be to one or the other, or even to both of you. Are you guys ready for the hot seat?
Ready.
Okay. Matt, what makes Leslee really mad?
Oh.
Well, a dirty house. The dogs at times.
Probably adding to the dirty house.
Yeah. So those probably come to mind first.
Leslee, what makes Matt really mad?
A bad game of pickleball.
Oh. I don't like to be late.
He does not like to be late.
You weren't late today.
No, you guys
It's all
were early.
good.
Yeah.
You're punctual.
No, he does not like to be late to a sporting event.
Leslee, what's something that you're good at that Matt's not?
I don't know. It's really hard to be married to Matt. He is so good at so many things. Probably distance running. Yeah, I can run a long, long way.
Okay. Matt, what's something that you're good at that Leslie's not?
Oh, let's list the things. He could beat me in a race.
Most athletic things.
Except distance running.
Of the two of you, who's the nerdier one?
Oh, me for sure. Yeah.
Who's the funnier one?
Oh, me for sure.
Just ask her.
Who's better at cooking?
Oh, that's probably pretty even. I cook more, but when he cooks, he can cook.
Matt, what do you like to cook?
Mostly grilling stuff, but occasionally, I get inspired by something on the Food Network that I'll give a go. But I spend most of the time grilling the protein for the meal, and she does the sides. So that's kind of our typical, if I'm going to be part of the dinner, that's typically how it goes.
Nice team effort there. Who's better at giving gifts?
Probably me, yeah.
Who has the bigger sweet tooth?
I don't know. I'm more of a salty person. Are you? I mean, probably you, but we're more salty. Like we like chips.
Okay, my turn. Who's going to fix the internet when it stops working?
I am.
Neither of us.
I am.
Which one of you could live the longest without a cell phone?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like we would both do okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I'd like to test it once, just for like a couple days.
Yeah.
See how we do.
Yeah. I think we would be okay.
What non-essential item are you bringing to a desert island?
Non-essential. I mean, it depends on how you define essentials. Like if a toothbrush is non-essential, for sure, toothbrush. I hate that. Not, I would have to brush my teeth every day.
That feeling. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that feeling. I don't like it. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, that would definitely be on my list. A pillow.
Yeah. Coconuts probably aren't very soft.
Matt, what's yours?
I don't know. It depends. Is there, if there's anywhere to play pickleball or concrete, I'll do that.
Love that.
Use your paddle.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. How do you celebrate?
Usually a great dinner with our people. I mean, we love good food and good company. So that's what we'd like to do.
What are you most looking forward to about growing old together?
I don't know. My parents have been married for a really long time. They're in their 70s. And they kind of do what we do right now. I mean, my dad's still working and my mom is super busy. And I want to grow up like them. So just never stop working and stay, engaged with my kids and, prayerfully grandkids someday. I love all that. So I really don't think a whole lot would change. Do you?
No, I'm hoping that I don't have to ever say I'm getting old together.
Yeah, I think we just go together.
Yeah, I just want to
down this road.
Yeah, stay healthy enough that I can still do what I'm doing now.
Love that.
Okay, so I get to ask the last two questions because you've always asked your guest these two questions on your podcast for Table 40.
I know what it is. Go ahead.
All righty. What are you serving for dinner and who's at your table?
Okay. Are you going first?
Sure. I would invite probably like 4 or 5 of my teammates, my favorite teammates, probably like Skip Schumacher, Adam Wainwright, Lance Bergman, probably Ollie Marmol, and I'll just start with those for now. And then probably like a Wagyu filet and probably like some sort of sweet potatoes and, like French fries, probably good French fries, something like that.
Ooh, sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. I'm going a Mexican themed dinner. And so I really like chips and multiple options of salsas. And so, and that's probably where we'll start. I like Mexican food. So we're doing that. Maybe tacos, shrimp tacos are really my jam. And so I think that my table is very similar to Matt's, like in family. I mean, what I love, my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving because I like just no presents. I like Christmas too, but I love Thanksgiving to where you can just sit at the table and just eat and then go back for another round of food and hang out all day long and just visit. And so I want all my kids there. My grandparents have passed away, but they were some of my very favorite people of all time. That would be ideal. My parents, my brothers, and their kids. So I'm a family, and then all the guys and their wives. I would love that. So I'd have a big table.
Well, Maggie mentioned your podcast that you guys did, Table 40, and I have to say that was absolutely an encouragement and an inspiration for us in our quest to get this started, our Glennon Factor started. I love at the core of what you did that you wanted to provide encouragement through the lives of your friends and people that you knew. And I think, Leslee, I heard an interview with you that you were being asked about like the subject matter of your podcast. And you said that the Lord had the agenda and that if you simply highlighted their story, that whoever needs to hear it will hear it. And I absolutely love that. And I think we are hoping through this that we can leverage our friends and our relationships and bring guests here to tell their stories, and that whomever's listening, they can hear something they need or learn something they didn't know before, or identify with some aspect of each of them and find some peace and find something that's beautiful in healthcare, right? So you guys have been a beautiful thing in healthcare for us, and continue to be. And I hope we can say that lasts a really long time, and the impact of all of that will last long after any of us are here, right? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks.
We thank you guys so much,
here.
for being here, for all of your support, and just everything you've meant to the people at Cardinal Glennon and to the people of St. Louis and beyond.
We've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Glennon Factor. Make sure you follow The Glennon Factor and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. Visit glennon.org if you would like to learn more about how you can support Cardinal Glennon kids. And while you're there, feel free to share any feedback or episode suggestions on our podcast page. The Glennon Factor is recorded and produced by SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Foundation. Boom, ba-doom, boom, 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 ba-doom, boom, boom.